Welcome to the Daily Dose of Dopamine. That guy that's waiting to you is Robert Cochran, and I'm Susan Scarlett. And we've been sitting here 250 something episodes talking to each other and discovering a lot of things about life in general. And lately, we've been thinking about the process of education, what that means, maybe what it isn't, and what we need it to be, and how to get there.
The foundation, at least here in the United States, is an educated populace, right? In order to, I mean, it's the basis of democracy, right? In order to have a functioning democracy, we need an educated populace that can really be the watchers in an educated way. And that means being able to discern everything that's going on. And now more than ever, in an age where stuff is coming from so many angles, with such volume and force, the ability to be a lifelong learner, to process and critically think, it's more important than ever.
I'm flashing on it a very personal example that just happened. So I learned, and I was on a DBS panel a few days ago.
Deep brain stimulation.
Deep brain stimulation. So I've been scuba diver for 25 years. I've got a couple thousand something dives under my belt, dived all over the world. It's really been important to me. Well, now I have a probe in my head. It's got a wire going down here to a battery in my chest. And one of the women on the panel said she learned that she jumped in the pool. She is a triathlete, and she was going to go do a swim training, and she jumped in the pool and she couldn't coordinate her arms and her legs anymore.
Oh.
And 2 other people out of the 8 people on the panel said, yeah, me too. So I'm thinking, oh my goodness. So what do I do about that? Do I panic? Do I give up being in the water? I love being in the water. I love being in the ocean, for example. What do I do? I figure out what I need to do to learn more. And in this day and age, that the first place I went was to the internet. And oh my gosh, there are academic papers talking about that. And how cool that I can do that, that I can do that. This is a very current topic. It wouldn't be in the encyclopedia, probably. I think our kids these days are mostly going to the internet to learn stuff. I don't know if that's
I'll advocate for
way
that.
of learning, but you have kids of education,
That's right. I mean, that's what their schools literally put them in that place, both to recognize this is the future and the present. You mentioned earlier a story about going to a library at college, and that being your first lesson was how to use the library.
The class was a library use class. It was a required class.
Incredibly smart. Same thing with the internet. And because it is the library on all sorts of steroids, it needs, repetition more than a single class, right? Because the internet evolves.
And it needs discernment on our part.
Critical thinking, 100%. What is and isn't. Yeah, see, this is a little bit of a sweet spot with me for my journalism background when we talked about reliable sources, right? That was, because the first 3 rules of journalism were accuracy, 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 right? And what does that mean? That means reliable sources. What does that mean? That means there are people at the heads of these certain institutions who are considered, for whatever reason, reliable. Used to be, your New York Times, your Washington Post, your LA Times. The editors in chief were incredibly important people. And the problem that the internet saw with that was the information is getting bottlenecked. And they're right. So we blew it up. We destroyed that system. And it's the Pandora's box. There's the plus minus of that now, like you said, because it is all out there. All of it.
So you have a real personal motivation. You're going to go figure out the answer. If you're in an academic pathway and it's got built-in bottlenecks that are tamping down your curiosity and your potential creativity because it's not supporting it, it can be a real problem. Do you know anything about that?
You do, and I'm going to hit that on the next daily dose.